Hello,
No, no, I'm
host,
totally fine with it.
host Derek here. Welcome to Talking with Famous People. And I am here with famous people Jason Knapp, John Sullivan, Unifying Your Name in chat. And on the phone we have famous person
Mr. Haberdasher.
Mr. Haberdasher. Okay, so we're talking today about gun control as prompted primarily, I suppose, by the recent violence in the club in Florida and the supposedly or apparently planned and to be implemented violence at the parade in Los Angeles. So, my first question to throw out to the group, anybody who's got any thoughts on, is how much is either the failure to enforce existing gun laws? Let's start with that. How much is the failure to enforce existing gun laws to blame for this, if at all?
uh, Existing gun laws.
Yeah,
Uh, what existing gun laws would have stopped it, though?
I
What
don't
can you
know.
think of?
Does anybody know the answer to that? We do know that the FBI investigated this guy 3 times. One would imagine that if there's enough to make them suspicious, enough to investigate him 3 times or talk to him 3 times, that there'd possibly be enough with existing gun laws to remove his guns from him. I don't know. Anybody have any knowledge about that,
I would say
Well,
it's more. Go ahead. Sorry.
Mr. Haberdasher?
it, yeah. Just I think on a more statistical note that even if we were to remove make guns more harder to access and make it more expensive or illegal in some way, I think there would always be a percentage or chance that people will still find guns. I just think that setting up laws or whatever to limit gun access would just decrease the chance rather than eliminate it entirely.
Okay, is a decreased chance enough to justify it?
Uh, no, I don't think so.
Okay, anybody else?
Uh, Even if are they gonna go to people's houses and take their guns away?
Well, I mean,
Because there aren't really enough guns out there to, I don't know, suffice for millions of terrorist attacks. It's not like banning the sell of it, like the selling of firearms is gonna do anything.
well, not immediately. I mean, over the long haul, one would imagine that the total number of guns would decrease if guns were not to be continually pumped into the economy. I'm not advocating against gun sales or gun ownership. I'm just throwing the questions out here for and playing sort of devil's advocate,
I
which
can
is to
see.
say, if one were to play devil's advocate, one would say it's a it's a uniquely dangerous consumer item, and we're talking about something that's almost always used to kill. There are some target shooters out there, I guess, but for it to ultimately be used, somebody's going to be shot or killed, and that proliferation of this instrument that serves really no other purpose is ultimately only going to mean proliferation of gunshot fatalities. That to the extent that the government has a has a job to do, that it would be. I'm trying to make a good case for this side. Your name. I'm sorry the matter bores you, but I'm trying to do a thorough job. So to the extent that the individual's liberty is going to be restricted here, it's restricted reasonably, and that people don't need to access certain things that kill people, like cyanide. We don't want to sell cyanide in the store, do we? I don't
Yeah.
think so. So I think I recognize this person. Anyway, so the point would be, no, not you, Mr. Haberdasher. I'm talking about your name in the chat. Uh, so I got to stop reading the chat. Is what I need to do. It distracts me. Anyway, the point being that we have to make a decision here between, say, the community and the individual, and how much are we willing to prioritize purported community goods for sacrificing individual liberties. So ultimately, where do we draw the line? What do you? Anybody have thoughts?
Hmm. I don't think America would ever really give up their freedoms like that, though, just for the community. Americans are they're too prideful. But that's kind of how this country was formed. So I just think that that's what's in the Americans' history, is to be prideful and not let people trump our liberties. So I don't think it would ever really work in America. That's why other places do it, because I don't think they have the same background America does with our like liberation and like.
So do you think the
all
right
that
thing to
mumbo
do?
jumbo.
Do you think the right thing to do differs from culture to culture? Like, is it okay for them to have restrictive gun laws in Japan, but not okay here? Or is it irrelevant? It's just how it is, or what?
Wait, we talking about Japan now?
Well, we're talking. I'm playing the side of pro-gun laws to sort of open the discussion up here, and I'm suggesting that Japan, which has strict gun laws, well, I disagree with that broad statement entirely, Unify. Even though I'm making this position, arguing this position, I would never argue that there's actually, in general, a trade-off between liberty and security.
Right.
Mostly, the trade-off is between liberty and security. I mean, you lose both because security measures are themselves a violation of your well-being. However, regardless of that, whatever I was saying.
Well, I would like to point out one of the main reasons the main fathers who created the Declaration added the law of allowing the civilian to hold or carry a gun is on the in case of fact that the government becomes corrupt and becomes sort of dictatorship. So civilians could rise up and take out the corrupt government if they saw or see fit.
Yeah, I agree that's what it was put there for, but I don't think that's a viable approach to government overreach anymore. I don't think muskets are going to solve the problem.
Well, I would like to argue on the fact that it has been confirmed that at least the United States government has been taking a lot more of a measure into personal space and has been. I mean, I'd say it's getting down to being corrupt and getting there.
Well, I mean, the institution as it currently exists is functionally unconstrained, and it does all sorts of things that it has no business doing. It may do them for good reasons. It may do them for bad reasons. It doesn't really matter. They end up causing harms more than they cause any benefits.
And well, that's what I mean for like guns and stuff. Like if the power were to be used in a negative light, which as seen in a lot of humanity, when you give like a single government that kind of power, it can easily go corrupt.
Okay, well I mean, I agree with you in principle, but I would still argue that the government doesn't really feel threatened by people's gun ownership because they don't believe that the people would act in concert against the government because they don't share interest that much.
Fair enough. I'll back off.
I'm not. Hey, as far as I know, we're not even arguing. I'm just sort of like going back and forth with you, testing out ideas. I didn't even know there was any disagreement here. This is how I generally test out ideas, is sort of see where they're strong and where they're weaker, For this one, it's an interesting point because I'm used to arguing the libertarian position and the rights position. In this instance, I'm arguing a position that is contrary to my gut entirely, which is that we ought to restrict individuals' access to an object because they might misuse that object. But we can find these examples on the margins, so to speak, where it does become a little tricky for me. It becomes a little more fuzzy. Like, I don't think we should sell cyanide in stores. What do you think about that?
What other uses are cyanide used for? Like, what other are they used for anything else?
Then killing stuff? I don't know.
Hmm.
What does that have to do with
People
it?
use
Well, like, what if cyanide was sold for its primary purpose?
To kill?
killing things. Well, it's for killing things.
I mean, even if you could say I want to kill something, and that's why I need to buy some cyanide. Why can't? There's a million ways to kill something. Why do you have to use cyanide?
Would you rather have something like chop their head off?
Well, sure,
It's
because
not,
the problem with cyanide is
but
that
it's
it's an
not
incredibly small amount of it will instantly kill a human being.
true. But I don't think you can just get cyanide from like the store, can you?
No, you can't. And my point is, even as a pretty hardcore libertarian, I don't believe you should be able to buy cyanide at the store, even though it technically goes against my own negative rights framework to say that.
I can see that.
Why don't I think people should be able to buy cyanide at the store? Because realistically, the only possible reason they would want to get it, number one, the only possible reason they would want to get it is to poison somebody. Number two,
Poison
no,
something. Or
okay,
somebody.
well, but I don't buy the notion that they want to get it to poison something because there's a lot of other ways you can poison animals, right? You don't need something that's so because of number three. You don't need something that's so subject to accidentally. The smallest accident can cause death to multiple people. If I were to accidentally drop some cyanide into a punch bowl or something, I'd kill a whole party full of people. I don't know. It's. I just don't think people should be able to buy cyanide at the store. I mean, I certainly don't think people should be able to buy plutonium at the store.
You should set up your own Schrodinger's cat thought experiment for that.
Well, I don't know how that would work, but does anybody think you should be able to buy plutonium at the store?
What does plutonium do? Is it just like
What?
radioactive or something?
Yeah, but like a teeny amount of it could kill hundreds of thousands of people.
No. Just like, I don't know, like you can get ketamine, but that's like through like vets and stuff. Like, I believe there should be like license that should be able to get the stuff. But it's just like, I don't know.
But it's not like ketamine because ketamine can't kill hundreds of thousands of people.
True, but just like the way that it should be handled in a more secure way. Like, you can't just go to a store and get it, but you need to have the certain license and like, I don't know, authority to get
Right.
the
So,
stuff.
okay, so we need government to do that kind of stuff. Well, if we need government to do
Yeah,
that kind of
regulation.
stuff, if we need government to do that kind of stuff, then why can't government also justify doing the guns thing? And if we say they can, then but we shouldn't here because America's unique history, then it's no longer a universal principle. This is the
They
typical.
already regulated it a little bit.
Yeah, I know. I think you just got to make some exceptions. Is the problem?
What do they consider an assault rifle? Because they're like, you can't really get a machine gun, like one that's rapid fire, fully automatic. You can't really get those anymore unless you have like certain licenses.
Like the kind in the movies where they have the big thing of bullets go through it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, why would you want one of those, right? I want to buy a machine
no,
gun,
just
please.
A little machine gun, like a M4 that's fully automatic. You can't really get those anymore. You can only get like an AR-15, which is like a civilian version of a M16 that's semi-automatic. You can only get that because it's not fully automatic, and I don't think it really It's somewhat an assault rifle, but
Well, I don't know. I don't know anything about guns really, but I do know that I don't want a gun, but I wouldn't mind going like squirrel hunting sometime, potentially.
Plinking.
heck, no kill. My dad, he goes and shoots prairie dogs and stuff out in Grand Junction, which is like in the middle of nowhere.
What state is it? What state are you in?
Colorado.
Oh, Colorado. That's right.
Super just flat. There's some like prairie dogs. We go target shoot, and sometimes prairie dogs stick their head up, try to shoot them. I don't know. Kind of weird.
It's a little weird, yeah. But I mean, I don't know. It sounds like something I wouldn't mind trying sometime. I don't know. It's kind of mean, but all right.
They don't suffer, really. It really just blows them up. And then they just die instantly.
They had an exciting end to life.
Not helping.
Okay.
Not helping your case.
Any other thoughts on the guns issue?
Well, I was going to say something with the whole cyanide and gun issue on why people go for guns easier than just publicly selling cyanide. And I think that guns, when somebody commits murder or some sort of crime or act with a gun, it's easier for police, FBI to track someone with a gun who may have left ammo or who may have dropped the gun in panic or even just some gunpowder or one of the shells from a gun, rather than just a single type of ingredient in someone's mouth, which is probably a bit more difficult to decipher, if you get what I'm trying to say.
All right, can you explain it again? I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand it all.
Well, what I'm trying to say is that when someone commits an act with a gun that's criminal, it may be more easier to track down the criminal himself if they use a gun, rather than like cyanide, because cyanide, it may be just a single ingredient, whereas, gunpowder, there's bullets and shells, gun itself, the model number, different ways they could actually find the gun than find the actual perpetrator.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that's why they have all those numbers and stuff on guns in the first place, and I think that's the point about the cyanide that is ultimately what distinguishes it from guns, is the way that it allows people to sneakily, anonymously, and noiselessly kill people. It's like an assassin's tool,
Like, you could go to prom and just kill all your classmates.
Right. Well, but people will say, well, you could go there and shoot up your school, too.
Yeah, but
I'm just saying, like, stuffing a bunch of cyanide in a punch bowl at school is a lot more easier to get away with rather than just a school shooting with an AK-47.
That's true. So, at least with guns, you limit the people who are going to possibly do it to those who are not going to get away with it.
Fair enough.
Okay, well, I think those are all very good points, and I think we've threshed out the topic of guns well enough. I don't think additional legislation is necessary. Let's take a quick vote on that. Anybody think additional legislation is necessary?
No.
No.
I support the right to arm bears.
Me too. We need more armed bears. China, 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 says your name. Okay. Good job, Haberdasher, says Unify. I agree. And thank you for watching Talking with Famous People.